Hello, everybody. This is Parker 3D Art, and today we are looking into how to create and also how to change primitives. So we'll be looking at essentially how to create different primitives with different methods, but also how to adjust them with changing the parameters, but also how to do a little bit of organizing. And yeah, let's begin. So we are doing introduction to Maya creating primitives, and we are going to be looking for different ways to creating primitives, tweaking them, changing the primitives, but also changing the materials, parenting and renaming objects. So what are primitives? Primitives is essentially a starting point on how to do a little bit of a block-out for a model. So say that you wanted to make a chest, you might start with a box, or if you're doing a glass, you might start with a cylinder, or if you're doing a donut, you might start with a torus. Yeah, it's essentially a base object that you're going to start with in order to make some editing as well. But what's great about primitives is it does have an option for you to tweak them and change them a little bit slightly before you start modifying the object. What's important to notice, however, is whenever you are changing the parameters of the primitive, as soon as you start doing any modifiers to it, like you start changing the object, the history will not work anymore whenever you want to retweak that object. So they are three different ways of creating primitives. I will go through them momentarily. So I'm just going to start over again. I'm going to delete this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to just show the first way of creating primitives. And that's if you go instead of create. And then you've got all the different things that you can create here. But the one that we are looking for is the polygon primitives. And this is where now you can select one of the objects. So I'm going to do a sphere here. Now, if I click on that, it has created a sphere in the center of the origin. So if we click on the grid here, and that's the center of the origin, it will create a sphere right in the middle. And this is a very easy way. So now we're going to make a cube. We've got a cube there now. However, there is a different method that you can create objects, and that's also by using the shelf up here above. So you just click on polymodeling, and all these orange icons that you've got here as well, you can also use this. So for example, I'm going to make a cylinder here. Remove that there. Very simple. However, my most favorite method, and let's say that we did not have any of these menus, and we did not have anything at all, then the fastest and the easiest way is to just right-click in here. While if you have an object selected, it will not work. You have to have nothing selected. So you unselect the object, you have nothing selected, and then with Shift, and then right-click, you also have this, which is going to be my favorite way of creating. So I'm just going to make a cone as well. Move the cone here as well. And that's essentially your free method. So one of the methods that I wanted to go through when it comes to all these primitives, whenever you create a primitive, is that you can also change this with a lot of ease. So if you go to any of these primitives here, and you click on it, at the moment, you might not have any information that comes up straight away. But if you press down T for Tarantula or Toronto, you'll get this little diagram here that enables you to apply some specification to the object, which is very handy. So you can change the size and the dimensions very easily by going like this, like that, and a little bit of depth. So you can do that with lots of ease. But also, you might be wondering, what is subdivisions? The subdivisions is essentially how many cuts in the middle is going to have. So if this is the width, then if you go like that, that's going to add more cuts as well, which it can be quite useful if you want to add a little bit more of geometry to do some changes. So you can just go, for example, go 5, 5, 5, 5, tab. Oh, tab doesn't work for some reason. 5, 5, and then you can just add here. So 5, 5, 5. And now we got a cube that's 5 units, but also has 5 divisions on each side. And this is a very nice way to start off with something that's very specific. However, whenever you want to take out this menu, if you're done with it, you can say Q for Princeland, and that will remove it. And now we can move this out of the way, and we can do the same with the cylinder. However, when it comes to, instead of pressing down T like this, I want to show you an alternative way to change the parameters. And this is with using the attribute editor instead. So when it comes to the attribute editor, I do not have the right buttons here at the moment, but if you don't know how to get to the attribute editor, you don't have that status bar there. In order to get it up, you can go inside of the UI elements and it will show here status line. Not too sure why that's turned off by default with this. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, you will find it up here to go to the attribute editor. So if you press on that button, the attribute editor will come up. And the way that it works is, instead of using this, you have a number of tabs. So the first one is like movement, rotation, color numbers. And then this is like showing color information, like how things look like with the mesh itself. But then the third tab is usually when it commences with the history of the object. And you can also change. It's essentially the same as pressing T. Same thing. So if I change things here, it will change that, as you can see. It will change on the left as well. So it's like same, but a different place. And now this is where you can change. Okay, I want this only to have 12 sides, but I want to have this many subdivisions here and here, as you can see. So I've got 5 in the top, 5 for the height, 5 in the caps. And then instead of that, say we got 200, that's going to be really crazy. But you get the idea. Or 100, or you can do 64, or you can do 12. Yeah, or you can do, don't go too crazy, because then you're gonna have something it's gonna ask you, are you sure? And then the computer might crash. So just try to have, and whenever it comes to blocking numbers, you want to make sure that you keep things pretty low. Yeah. There you go, that's the attribute editor. Okay, very good. So now that you've got a bit of a better idea on how to create primitives, but also how to change them, I'd like to give you a bit of a break on how to, just create primitives on all the different methods. Make sure that you can do as many different primitives as you can, but it is most important that you pause this video and you take a good solid 10 to 15 minutes to create as many primitives as you can. Just, make a cube, make a cylinder, make a cone, make a sphere, and see how you can change the parameters, like add more geometry, remove geometry. Have a bit of a play and see what you can do, because you'll be surprised. And I'll just feel free to pause now if you want, but feel free to also watch now what I'm gonna be doing, because there are some really fascinating. So I'm just gonna delete these objects for a second in here, and I'm gonna save this with Control S, and I'm gonna make a new scene so it's a bit easier, less distracting. We can always go back to the scene in a second. So if we go here, I would like for you to make a plane, scale it, press T and be like, cool, what does this do? Oh yeah, see all the parameters. There's a lot of add parameters that you can uncover very easily if you click on here. Create UVs, I'm not too sure. There's a lot of these, there's so many that I don't even know what they do, like this height baseline. Well, there you go. I had no idea that you could do that as well, right? So have a bit of a play, and there's nothing you cannot break. So once you're bored with it, you go, okay, cool, that's enough. Like if you press W to move, that's going to remove it as well. Put that there. We've already seen the cylinder, so let's do the cone instead. Press F to go in, press T. Let's see. Okay, so we got some caps as well. That's for the bottom there. That's an angon. Oof, angon's not bueno. Okay. So we got that. Okay, we got some off here as well. Okay, cool. And just do this with all of them. But I think the most interesting ones that I really like, Taurus is quite interesting. So before the Taurus, yeah, you got like a twist, which goes around in a circle. But then you got the inner and then the outer. You got the inner one and the outer one. So really cool there. So that's another one. And yeah, just have a bit of a play. Because one thing, when it comes to computer graphics, the most important thing is that you experiment and you play. Play, experiment, have fun. If you are pressing buttons and you're doing things and you are scared, you're like, oh no, press a button. Ooh, I don't know what I'm doing. Press another button. It's like, mate, this is not for you. I am so sorry to be blunt. But if you are doing this right now, you're like, ooh, I hate it. I hate doing this. Then maybe be a carpenter, or maybe open a flower shop, or just be a vet. Maybe don't. But give it a solid go. Yeah, just do this for at least a few hours before you give up straight away. Because it's very normal that at the beginning, for discomfort, it's very important to just be okay with it and then just give at least 10 hours. And then if after 10 hours you're not sure about that, and maybe we let it go. Yeah. Okay, so that's the sphere there. The one that I was like, yeah, this one is fun, is a helix. So the helix is really cool because if I press T, you can add more coils, and that's a lot of fun to look. But you can make it height as well. It's a bit like DNA, or like what you have with the old school phones. So you can do that as well. It's a lot of fun. Increase the edges again. Change the height, and yeah, this is a lot of fun. And there are a few here, I think, that are not showing at the moment. So if we go instead of creating here, there might be some other ones. Oh, that's right, the gear. The gear is a lot of fun as well. So if we click on that, oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I like a helix, not a gear. That's the one here. And let's do the same thing here. Let's go press T. If you press T on this one, it doesn't work. You have to go in here, I guess. Oh, that's great, isn't it? So there you can go like that again. I guess this is the weirdest primitive. Like, I'm not too sure why. Like, I don't know if I could even call this primitive. That's still pretty cool. They can do this. I think 3D Max has got a lot more primitives. I think you can do a lot of architecture stuff, which is pretty nifty. It's pretty nice. Wow, look at that. You can even do twist and taper. How cool is that? It almost looks like a flower kind of thing. Okay, there you go. Have a bit of fun, and I'll see you very soon. Very good. So hopefully you've had a bit of fun. You did a little bit of creating some primitives, and you played around, and now you're like, cool, what is next? So I'm going to talk to you say that you make a bunch of primitives and you're wondering, hey, what the hell? I want to be a little bit organized and I want to know how to find the objects. So I'm just gonna quickly make a bunch of objects, right? So let's do a plane, let's do a cylinder, yeah. And let's do a torus as well. And let's also do a sphere. Okay, and I don't know why I did the plane. Oh, why not there? Let's do the plane so we can put this, make it really big. So that's like the floor. All right, and now we got these 3 objects. And sometimes to be organized, so you want to consider the following. Yeah, so an outliner is all about knowing what objects you have in the scene, having a bit of hierarchy. Okay, so what are the objects and where they are placed, understanding about navigation. So if you click an object and then you press F, then you know where you can teleport to that object and know, okay, so that's where that object is. But it's also a way on knowing what is parented to what, or what children's got what parents. So we'll go through that in a moment. But it's about being able to select objects and be able to search for them and filter for them as well. So in order to find the outliner, there's different ways that you can find it. But my favorite one is pressing on this button here. So now you can see here we've got a plane, we've got a cylinder, we've got a torus, and we've got a sphere. But we can also say that we don't have the menu for whatever reason, we don't have this. You can also see the outliner if you go, and there's always 3 different ways of doing things. But I usually, whenever I do the tutorials, I always stick to one. You can go to Windows, UI Elements, in here, Outliner. There you go. So Windows Outliner. Okay, so now that you've got the outliner out, what I want you to do is to create a floor. So yeah, we're going to do this with a new scene. Create the floor, create the sphere, the torus, and the cylinder. And then unpause the video once you've done that. All right, and then what we're gonna do is open the outliner, and we are going to do a little bit of organizing, because at the moment we've got a bunch of different objects, but they are called a sphere, a torus, and a cylinder, and this could be anything really. So what we're gonna do is gonna move the sphere in the center here, and we're gonna move all the objects in the center actually. So we're gonna go to the channel editor, put it to 0, put that up. And by the way, if you type 0 in here, it will just restart. Move this to the center of the world, move this up as well, put it here, and we're gonna also put in here. And this is now going to be like a very basic way to make a man with a hat, but it's this is just very symbolic. It's very simple. I'm just gonna make this very flat, yeah, and put this here. And what I'm gonna do is do a little bit of namings. Feel free to put a nose in there. Why not? Let's put a nose in this guy too. A little pixie nose. So he looks like a little Birdman of some sort. Sure. Feel free to put a couple more if you want. But now this is the part where I'm gonna do a little bit of naming. So I'm just gonna go select on the sphere. Make sure that you have the outliner up, and you can go double click. And I'm gonna call this head underscore geo. So when it comes to geometry, it's a good convention to call everything geo. We're gonna do the same. I don't know what this part of the head is called, but I'm gonna call it the visor, like it's to cover the eyes just to give it a name. If you've got a better name, feel free to put it in the comments, and then I might put a note or something. And then this is the tulip part, the head. So let's call it hat. Now, the floor, we can call that floor geo. And then we got the nose, let's call it this nose. Yeah, and the way that I'm doing this is I'm just double clicking it on the thing, double clicking it, go click, and you can do this as well with changing names or file names and things like that in Windows Explorer. And now that we've got these names, I'll give you a minute to catch up. All right, so now I'm gonna talk about parenting. And parenting is essentially a way that enables you to move an object alongside other things, and the objects will follow. The most important thing, however, is make sure that you do freeze anything that you scale with, like the nose and the hat. Whenever it comes to parenting, you have to make sure that you freeze it. So just hold down A, left click, and go freeze transforms, and you will see in the channel box, while you've got the channel box open, the scale of the Y, that is 0.35, will go to 1. So I'm going to do the same here. Hold down A, left click, freeze transforms. Now we've cleaned it up. And that should now have some nice transforms, and we're going to do some parenting. So there's two ways of doing parenting. So say that we want the nose to be part of the head. You can do that by holding down here with the middle mouse button and then drag it inside of the head. And that means it's almost like, think of the head becomes like an envelope, and you're putting the nose inside of this envelope. And now what happens is you get this little plus icon, and that means now the nose is inside of the head. Okay. And now if I click on the head, the nose will move with it. So anything that you do with the head, even if you like rotate it, you scale it, it will scale with it, and it will get those parameters as well. The other way that you can do parenting, so let's say now that we want the visa to be part of the head, you can click first on the child, and after you click on the child, you click on the father. So the father should always be the last thing that you click, and then you press P for parrot, P for parrot or pirate. Now you can see in the outliner here, so let's put the visor inside of the head. So now if I move the head, it will move the visor as well, which is pretty handy, especially if you don't want this to change or move at all, and you want this to be together. Now that's going to be a pretty fancy hat. Yeah, you can click on this individually and then move it and rotate it, and then if you click on that one, it will follow that. Okay. Let's put as well, let's put the hat in here as well. So now this is where you can click on this once, click on the child, and then you click on the father, and then you press P for parrot, and now the actual hat becomes the child of the head. So if I click on this one here, now I can move that around. All right. Very good. I'll give you a minute to pause and do that, and the last exercise will be changing colors of material. Okay, very good. So let's, just for practice sake, let's do a new scene. And what we're gonna do is just make a bunch of primitives, you know, just so it's fun, just do different ones. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot about the interactive creation here. This is also a different way of creating primitives as well, which can be quite nice. Okay, so now we got a torus. And let's do a cone here as well. Yeah, just have a bunch of primitives, maybe like 8 or something like that. That's the meta. We're just practicing it. The best way to practice is to just keep doing it and just work in the program. Like, think about it this way. You become a absolute beginner, and then after 5 or 6 hours that you use Maya, then you become like a confident beginner where you kind of know, okay, I know how to navigate around and I know more or less what the user interface is. And then once you hit the 100-hour mark, that's when you become like an early beginner where you're like, you kind of know where the things are, but it's 100 hours. So think about it this way, you beat a big game like Elder Rings in 100 hours or the latest Zelda, right? Like, it takes a long time. And that's more or less what happens as well with software, where you just need a few hours here to do things, right? So once you've got a primitives, let's put one more, another cube. Sure, let's do a rectangle. We're gonna learn how to change material colors. So let's select this one here. And in order to change the material colors, you hold down right click without any shift or anything like that, just right click on the object you selected, right click. And then here, this is where you're gonna have assign a new material. So this is the last, let's move down a little bit higher. Like here, assign new material. And this is where we can do a color. So once you let that go with assigning material, you get this little window here. And what it is essentially is you being able to assign the type of material. So this is depending if it's called reflection or reflection. The new one that Maya 2024 got released, so they have introduced this one, which is rather nice. It's like a combination of all these shaders put together with some extra parameters. So we're going to use this one, but if you don't have this one in your version, you can use plain or Labette just as fine. So let's use standard surface. And this is the part here where we need to go to the attribute editor instead of channel box. So I'm going to show you a new shortcut, and this is Control A. And Control A switches really easily between the channel box, attribute editor, channel box, attribute editor, and that's with Control A. Okay, Control A, Control A, Control A. And once you apply the new material, you have to click on this tab here instead of the attribute editor where it says standard surface. And it's very important whenever you're creating materials to name them, because say that you have a scene or you have a room with 50 different materials, you don't want to be like, oh, was it standard 1 or standard 2 or standard 3 or standard 4? Because it's very easy to just go new material, standard, new material, standard. And if you click on this button here, which is the Hypershade window, and it will show you all the different materials in your scene. I will go in this a bit more detail because it's a whole extra interface. But then the more materials you create, they're all gonna all have the same name, standard, 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 and then you're gonna be like, oh my god, who am I? What's my name? They all look the same. They got different colors, so always name them. So we're gonna go here now, and we're gonna name this material red. And then once you've got that name, then we're gonna put that color, and we're gonna go, cool, that is this color here. Or you can also go in this ring, everything there, and go, okay, red, move that to red. Cool, that's red now. All right. I've already added a material with this, so I'm just gonna change the name. So I'm gonna go material blue, change that to blue. All right. And then I'm gonna do the same with this one here, material green, change that to green, like so. Okay. And I'm gonna do one more. And then, well, that's the base material. So we're going to add a new one. Because if I change this one, it will change the colors of all the other things, which we don't want to do. So we're just going to go material editor, assign a new material, set that surface, call this matte. So whenever I do materials, I always put matte underscore, so everybody knows that is a material. And this is a very, very common naming convention, because otherwise, if you put like a regular name, you might get confused with an object or something else. So underscore, so matte underscore, we'll call this yellow, change that to yellow. Now, you need to understand that if you need to apply this red as well, this yellow, this green, and this blue, you don't need to constantly add more yellow or more red, because otherwise, if you keep on doing that, you're going to have duplicates of the same material, and then things are going to get really messy. So you can also apply, say, if you want to have the same red as this one, you can just go red, select this object here, hold down right click, and then here where it says assign favorite or existing material, you can do that and then go, cool, I actually want that to be red. So then let go. And now that changes to red, and then the two materials will have the same color. So if you ever want to change it, select this, click on here, and now instead of that, let's make it orange. And now it will change the color of both materials. So you only have to change it once. So go here, right click, existing, green. And now if you go here as well again, change that to, let's say that we want like a bit more of a cyan color. There you go. Very easily. Blue. Existing material, blue. And let's say now that we want to make this blue a little bit more violet. Okay. So, I think this is pretty clear. This is enough for today's lesson. So just as an exercise, just make a bunch of primitives, give some materials, and give some colors. And yeah, once you're done, I will give you a little bit of an idea of what we're doing for the next lesson. Okay, so as a summary, we have done, created primitives, changed the parameters. We had a bit of a delve in what is an outliner, did a little renaming, parroting, and changing colors. For the next exercise, we will go back to the project and talk a little bit about different types of snapping. And then after that, we're going to have a little bit of fun with the pivot points. Just remember, everybody, to just to make sure that I can keep on making tutorials. This is only the beginning lessons, and they're quite basic, but with time I'm going to teach as well Substance Painter, ZBrush, and I would love to do tutorials that are a little bit more in depth. So remember to subscribe, to like, also to share and to comment, and I will see you soon for the next lesson.